Hi, my name is Christopher, and welcome to Christ Revisited. Back when I was 19, 20 years old, college freshman, I left Christianity at the very same time that I had just said a prayer to accept Christianity. There was a missionary on campus, and being extremely open-minded and willing to knock on all the doors, when I saw a pamphlet, I called the number. I had a meeting arranged at the student union. The fellow came over, a nice man, who gave me his pat answer verses as to why Christianity is true, as to why Christ is the only way. And basically I got strong-armed into accepting Christianity with absolutely no true conviction. And it was like getting burned. It sucked. And it left such a bad taste in my mouth that between that and the very fact that my parents, who had tried their best, but when I was 8, I was both baptized and then also my parents divorced. So I had this nice drift that my parents being a product of the 70s and 80s with the whole free love culture saturating Hollywood and music, there was not a strong moral example. There was no church. There was very little prayer. And essentially, even though I lived in a Mormon community and I loved and was curious about Christianity, it was still an idea. And so I had the Mormon 4-year seminary program because I really was interested. I would spend afternoons reading the Bible, watching biblical literature, stories about Jesus, movies, almost praying, but it was just, there was nothing there. Like in terms of culture, influence, it was just empty. And so after that prayer, as a college freshman, I also began to feel the sense of intellectual pride and curiosity that is easy to happen for someone who's new on the scene. And all of the professors, especially in philosophy, definitely do not appear to have espoused any kind of religion whatsoever. So religion takes on a very backward type concept for me. And so I kind of put Christianity on the shelf. But at the same time, I was hungry and I was seeking. And I just so happened to travel to Taiwan and teach English for a summer. And there I met people much above my age in their 30s when I was just in my late teens. And they began introducing me to the great canon of 60s counterculture, which includes the Alan Watts of the world, the D.T. Suzuki's of the world, and I began reading the Zen literature. It all started because I did bring my dad's Rajneesh book to Taiwan to try to read something on Taoism. So with my draw for Taoism, which brought me to Taiwan and inspired me towards Asian culture, I immersed myself in Zen Buddhism and happened to pick up a book down at Cave's Book in Taiwan, the one English-speaking bookstore, on how to sit Zazen or how to practice Zazen, the act of sitting meditation. And how lovely when I came back to Salt Lake City, Utah, that there, next to the university campus, was an actual Zen center. So it didn't take long. In fact, that very weekend, and I was at the Zen center and immersed. In fact, my best friend the next week showed up, and we spent years in the world of Zen Buddhism. He himself later became a monk of 25 years plus. So going back to why I'm telling you all this is it wasn't exactly intentional that I left Christianity, because I truly loved Christ, but I had no discipleship, and I had no sense of what I do as a Christian, and I had a yearning for authenticity. I had a yearning for the seriousness that I saw in Zen Buddhism, the rigor, the focus, and that really drew me into the experiences that I did receive inside of the Zen Buddhist retreat, that very first one, what you might call a mystical experience. They might call a kensho or an opening, a very small opening, but it was that moment when the bell rings, and as trite as it might sound, but I was truly one with the bell and truly one with the universe as far as I was concerned. And that was it. The lights had gone off, and wow, between that and watching the doors that had just been released, I thought I had discovered religion. Then I decided I had to go and pursue an academic study of mysticism, and potentially a study not just of Taoism and Buddhism, but looking for the thread that unites all mystical experiences, because there must be some truth behind these experiences and behind this yearning for the mystical, for God, that I truly had and had found through the vehicle of Buddhism. So that just gives you just a little bit of the reasoning behind why I left Christianity when I did. What I'm inviting you here is the beginning of a conversation with Christ Revisited. Let's take a look again with a new level of maturity to re-examine Christianity. As I hit upon Christianity at my middle age, a fire was lit within me to seek it out, to discover over time what it is we do as Christians. What is the gospel? What are the doctrines? And how do they compare to all those other tempting, lovely worldviews out there? And I invite you with an open mind to come walk with me as we re-encounter and re-explore Christ and his church. Welcome to Christ Revisited.